Good night and welcome to Mindful Live 413. I am your co-host, Nathan Springer. Thank you for being here. It is presently 9:56, closing in on 10 o'clock on the 11th of the 7th. Already over that halfway mark for the year, the 11th of July. We're into that July-August vacation. You know, I can remember when people were talking and discussing about renaming this whole thing from summer vacation, seeing as we don't have a summer here, and talking about, what if we go with Java? And I remember hearing that discussion a couple of years ago. And then what would you know? The boys have done it apparently. The Java business has caught on. It's Java. July-August vacation. Can't argue with it. Good night, Rachel Glubman. What's the latest, bro? How are things? How's life? And all that good stuff. Even though to some extent summer wasn't totally wrong, because if we're in the northern hemisphere, summer in the northern hemisphere is during that time. I mean, that's a factor too, I guess. But welcome. Once you're on the inside, make sure you hit that like button. Double tap the screen over there on TikTok. That's how you hit the like button over there. Few technical difficulties, as you know, happens and occurs over there on YouTube, but welcome. Hit that like button nonetheless. Drop a comment if you have something to say. Let me know what you think, and let's jump right into it. It's Thursday and we're talking. Any questions, any comments? That's the line we're going down. What's on your mind? What's been attracting your attention of late? What's the thing in the news for you? I saw on the international stage, the United States President held a press conference, to reassure the voting public that, yes, he has it all together. And he's not dropping out of the race. And what would you know? He flubbed that press conference too. Someone said dengue. Well, yeah, I'm hearing dengue is all around. And for sure, mosquitoes are all around. There are lots of mosquitoes. Every time you pass any bit of tall grass, you're in trouble with those mosquitoes these days. And it has been a while since we had one of those insect vector people. I remember when regularly they used to tell you, watch out for your pets and all of that stuff, because they pass in to smoke out the whole community. Maybe that was an environmental problem. Like, if you consider it, maybe fumigating an entire community, an entire nation, who knows what the environmental implications of that was, but you feel like something needs to be done about these mosquitoes. That's difficult. It's difficult, the level of mosquitoes. And it's Aedes aegypti, the vast majority of them. Aedes aegypti around every corner, and dengue is spreading. Doesn't sound like a good time. Not at all. Double tap the screen over there on TikTok, hit that like button. I saw out in Tobago, this graduation hairstyle business is back again. Luke says apparently they might starting charging people for not cleaning their yard, but I find that a bit hypocritical. Why do you find it hypocritical? Why do you find it hypocritical? And I believe I read that somewhere that there's is it 45 a stiff charge. But if I recall correctly, that there were always supposed to be legal consequences for having your yard in a derelict state. $3,500 fines as dengue cases surge. As dengue cases surge to alarming levels, public health inspectors have been authorized. Let's get that centered. have been authorized to fine citizens $3,500 if they fail to clean their properties, allowing them to become mosquito breeding grounds. This was revealed by Health Minister Terence Dialsing as he spoke on the Morning Brew yesterday in response to the escalating dengue crisis gripping the Caribbean and Latin America. I agree with the legal consequences, but who will charge minister for neglect of their constituents? The bridge is one example, the one that collapsed. Correct, very correct. And that's just the way the system is. You have police officers that charge citizens for not wearing a seatbelt, and I feel like I can't recall the last time I passed the police vehicle and saw the driver or the passenger wearing their seatbelt. You have derelict police vehicles and state vehicles driving the nation's roads while they charge you for the same thing. That's not a shock. Yeah, you see the difficulty with government. You see, this is the problem when it comes to governance. How do you get human beings to do what you want them to do? How do you make people do something that is good for the benefit of everyone else? Because the idea of the government is they're there trying to seek the common good, right? They're there trying to seek the common good of all the people that voted for them, all of the voters, the electorate of the country. That's who they are there to represent, right? All right. Now, if we figure something is for the common good of all of us, but the person or persons who have to make the decisions and changes in their habits for that common good to work, they don't want to do it. How do we make them do it? Is there a way to make them do it? Which country you're from? Take a guess. I see Frontier touchdown today. What Frontier is that? Not 100% certain what you're referring to. Oh, the airline, yes, I saw that. I did see that, in fact. Grand. Trips to Puerto Rico or something like that. Hey, Marshall Modesto, you sung the Bajan. You find I sung Bajan? What about my accent songs Bajan? Nah, I don't find so at all. I think. Good night, Michael Modesto. I don't think your deciphering of accents are on the 100. What's going on, YouTube? Thank you, Michael. Yeah, I saw this hairstyle thing back again out in Tobago. An SDA school kicked some students out and police got involved and things got heated and parents want to get to the bottom of it and say they're not letting it go, and I am kind of confused. Like, I don't get why parents who really have a indelible desire, a desire that cannot be quenched, for their sons to have braided and plaited hairstyles. I don't understand why those parents continually find themselves sending their sons to schools that don't want that. Like, I just honestly don't get that. It's a bit confusing to me. I am sure there are schools that are okay with the hairstyles. Hello, Ronnie. Why every single year we see the same thing over and over again? Every year, same thing. My child wants his hair plait. The school doesn't allow plait hair. Oh no, we carry him with plait hair still to the graduation. Hey, they kick out my child, they're wicked. I just don't get it, personally. I don't get it. It's beyond me. If they were so stressed about the issue, they could just be sent to private school, problem done. There are many public schools that allow it. Why would you go to an SDA school? Listen, the SDA school in USC, you can't go up there in a pants. If you are addicted to wearing, as a woman, if you are addicted to wearing your pants, your trousers, you must wear your trousers when the day comes. Well, sister, don't go USC now. We have a lot of options out here. And you see, I don't like the idea where people say also it's part of the system, so you know they should allow. Yes. The uniqueness of our system I like, in that it allows different organizations, different institutions, different denominations to attempt to find their own unique ways to educate and impart knowledge. And if this denomination thinks, as part of their package for discipline, as part of their training in the totality of what it means to educate and bring a young man to age, as part of their belief in that, they believe he needs to have a cropped hairstyle, neat and whatever. Okay. If you don't agree, don't join them. And as far as I can tell, with this incident this year, just as the year previous, it wasn't inside of the school grounds. It was inside of a private event, basically, outside of school grounds, where the school basically decides who enters or not. Not the school necessarily, the private organization that runs the school, the board. So I don't know even if that's a consideration to get back something or do something. Yo, Ronnie.
Yeah. I'll take it to you. Oh, shucks.
Ha. You gonna take it there?
Sorry, I didn't know I got add.
But you just say add.
Good night.
Good night.
Talking exactly what I come to talk about tonight. Because I'm finally overdoing the thing.
Me too.
Every year is a new thing. That is nonsense. I feel it's time them board school turn back fully board. And if nobody wants to suffer, poor people who can't pay to get in them school. That means you want to suffer.
I really confused, dinner. I really confused. Like, what is it? I mean, as a parent, you don't need. I am of the belief that a parent gets to decide what goes on with their child. I mean, you don't necessarily need to justify why you want your child to grow their hair. You could decide that if you want, as a parent, I believe. Grand. But what is so important about the child growing their hair that you're willing to go at loggerheads with the school that you obviously want the child to go to? I mean,
but it's more than just the. I didn't know the thing about it. Sorry, continue on and I'll talk.
I'm just saying the same thing again. Basically, I am confused. Why would you want the child to go to a school where you don't believe that they have the best interest of the child at heart. You believe that they are biased against the here. Okay, so then why carry the child to that specific school? Many of these government schools now, you look around and all the boys have their hair plait and in all various creative hairstyles. If you're looking for that freedom to express yourselves creatively, why don't you go to one of those more open government schools and get the results that they get?
But one of that shucks. Okay, right, it's not that time. One of that, I realize is really just Christian schools is people, you know. I mean, back when Sat was around, they couldn't tell something.
Yeah, the rain drowning you out there.
That doesn't mean I wanted to come in. But she girls with hijab on. And a hijab is a religious item. And the ministry never pass no law, they never change nothing. What did they do? They went and relocate the woman. Right? But the Christian schools now, see, we do not like that long hair thing, for whatever reason. And the ministry says, no, you can't discriminate like that. So why is only Christian schools? Why? But anyway, I for one, go back board. Because people, it's not like people wouldn't go to these schools. The only school that might suffer is like Harmons. I'm gonna suffer. Nobody really want to go Harmons, but there will be people who will go. So it's either one out of two things. It's either you are a part of the religion and the government sends you there, or you pay and you send your children in school. Because you can't tell me. You come in school and want to change your rules.
I don't get it. I don't get it. And as I heard the Tobago tutor head was saying something like this. I heard the Tobago tutor head was saying something like this. It's about discipline. And different schools have different rules that they attempt to enact to create discipline. And as someone rightfully asked further up, what are we telling students if every year the main issue is attempting to get some students around the discipline?
You're saying about partially funded, but that is the thing. When they're partially funded, people believe the ministry have a right now, like how they pass their rule and say, oh, you can't discriminate against somebody with here. If it was a private institution, you cannot tell them that. But because you're taking the money, you kind of have to listen to what they're saying. Mm-hmm. Kind of.
And that's why I wanted to go fully locally funded, fully funded by the board. I understand. Yeah. And you know that's talking down my kind of line. I have no problem with that. Because here's the thing. I don't like how most public schools are teaching now, how the education system generally teaches. But I'm not going to just send my child there and incessantly complain about it. I just won't send my child to the institution. I'll teach them some other way. That's what the institution gives if I don't like it and I am not in the position to change it. Okay, I'll go somewhere else. We are blessed in the country that we have options. It's beyond me. Why create this issue every year? And to me, it sends a totally wrong message to the students. A totally wrong message. I will be curious to do follow-ups on the boys that made these issues where they are in life. If these things help them get a nice activist start on a political career, or if it was just a lesson in rebellion that they carried on further. Thank God for the freedom fighters. Who are the freedom fighters? The boys who plait their hair and go to school? That's a freedom fighter. I hope that's not who you're talking about, Johans. If that's your bar for freedom fighting, yikes. That sounds pretty low.
I think I'll just over it. And I think it will also help if you go back fully board and the board kind of has a say in does what. It will help in terms of the students doing That's our because we kind of would just be to the point where it's either you're rich to be there or you really want to learn. Because I follow. I follow about people using the church, their parents' money, they're wasting their own time, they're wasting teachers' resources. And teaching is a hard job. And you come here to waste my time just because you have to be here? No, baby, you shouldn't have to be here. Even she shouldn't require you to be here. Go where you want to.
Don't be that simple. Well, how am I simple, Johans? It's Thursday, and Thursdays where we talk. Feel free to join and tell me how am I being simple and how the real freedom fighters that we should be thanking God for are those who take an American black pop hairstyle and go to school. Like the same thing I said last year. These boys aren't rocking Bantu nuts. They didn't go back to the African tribes and learn some cultural hairstyles and come trying to rock that. They came looking like the latest American rap artists. It's American black hip hop pop subculture that people somehow link up to as real black. Sorry, that's not real black culture. That didn't come out of any real black history. That came out of the American urban slums. It's their body. Great! Well, take your body and carry it in the next school. Great! It's your body. Do what you want. And that kind of attitude is why you constantly see the indiscipline in the community. Because you could do what you want and you have adults talking this kind of garbage. And then surprised that certain communities are especially indisciplined. About freedom fighters. About freedom fighters. It went from freedom fighters to it's their body. Bro, if it's your body and you're so insistent on it, well, go teach them yourself. Groom their mind just as you groom their body, with your own unique skills, and make them into the geniuses that you think they can be. Don't send them to a school where the school says our system includes discipline and these are the rules that we want for discipline, and then you say, nah, we don't want your discipline, but we want your style of teaching. No, they go together. You don't want it, go elsewhere. And as I said last year, is it any shock then? Why is it then? Someone explain to me. If it's all about freedom fighting and nothing to do with anything, the schools that generally have those stricter rules perform better. And the schools where you look and when you look at the graduation, weave, plats, and I don't mean this as any kind of ethnic insult. If you want to take it as that, take it and ride with it if so. But when you look at those schools and you look at the results, they tell a story. Why is that? Why is that? Why do you think that is? Is it just that the system doesn't like them? Or is it there's something that they're doing wrong? Freedom fighters. Bro, if that's what you're teaching your son, he may be in some trouble. That all he needs to do to show that he's a freedom fighter is plait up his hair in a pop culture hairstyle that goes against his school rules. Black power. Jeez, man. Mockery of it. Mockery of it.
More than that, like, let me get off the boys. The boys is the boys. And we had the same discussion last year about the boys. What is up with these girls?
Bruh, listen.
Bodies outside. Why your skin outside? And I find it so distasteful. Tonight actually I saw a girl in her grad dress and it was so nice. No slit, no skin, no nothing. It was like a Cinderella ball dress. And I was shocked. I was just like, oh my goodness. Like the girl keep watching her, but I was watching it because you actually look like you're going to secondary school grad. Not to some high-end strip club.
Listen, I remember a good few years ago, my brother and I did a review online of grads outfits. Was a hit back then with these students. If you graduated CXC problem like what I was 2017, 2016 or something like that. Cohen and I did that way back then. I don't think I could do that now. I don't think I could do that now. And listen, these are little children. There's no reason I should be seeing all these body parts of little children. This is borderline something illegal. Some of these albums could be flagged as something illegal.
Mm-hmm. Correct. And they're not cheap, you know. This one.
Well, of course not. And then I'm watching their designers doing this. Big grown designers looking at 16-year-old girls' bodies and draping it like... I despise the dishonesty in these things, and it connects back to the same thing like the boys and the indiscipline too, where people talk about it like, what this really is about black power and freedom and black people expressing themselves, when it's really and truly an American subculture thing. It's not African. It doesn't go back to any kind of African culture on the continent or anything like that. It's American pop subculture. It's a lie they're telling you. They're being dishonest. And then they do the same thing on the female side. They're just expressing themselves. It's just about them being free to show how they want and their ingenuity and their creativity. Like, we don't all know that this is about displaying human sexuality for increased attention. And there should be something extremely uncomfortable about underage girls displaying human sexuality online for increased attention. That is very strange. That is very, very strange.
No, you're not supposed to, but you should advise. As a designer, you could advise.
Yes! Wait. What do you mean we're supposed to do? If a child comes to you with an inappropriate request, but they're paying to do it, what do? Refuse it. What do you mean what you're supposed to do? I don't find that to be a difficult thing. I really don't find that to be a difficult thing. If I offer a service that is geared towards adults, if you're one of those alcohol snow cone people, you do those alcohol delicacies, whatever kind, the cakes with the Hennessy and Baileys and stuff, and somebody's child at 15 wants a Henny cake, yeah, Ronnie, tell them good night. And somebody's child at 16 and 17 wants a Henny cake to celebrate their grads. They want a cake with a bottle of Henny. If you are a baker and their parents says, yeah, pay it, there is no problem. Them drinking since they was 14. Put the thing there, man. I'll give you some extra for that. As a baker, would you put it and sell it to them because that's what they want and their parents approve? Money have you make. That's different though. That's illegal. Designing a graduate appropriate to you or not isn't. Well, yes, and I was not talking about illegality here, Mr. I don't care bro. If your standards on what is appropriate is a matter of legality, I think you'd be a scary person because legality changes. I would hope that your standards are there without regard to legality. I would hope that the reason you don't go diddying down the place with little children is more than just because it's illegal. You get what I mean? The reason that you don't go looking for children shouldn't be just because the law prohibits it, The law prohibits it because it's what normal people shouldn't want to do. One should come before the other, you know.
Am I still here?
Yes, you are. Morality to sir. I would hope one comes before the other. So, the reason I wouldn't sell an alcoholic cake to a child isn't just because the law says not to. Otherwise, if there was a way I could have done it without the law finding out, then I would. Because the only thing stopping me is legality. But that's not, at least for me. I don't know about you, but for me, there are things above legality that would stop me from doing that. And that's what I'm talking about. Yes, I know it's not illegal. That's why I'm not calling the police. That's why we're not discussing why no one is being charged and where the Attorney General and where the DPP, because I understand nothing is illegal with this. People can dress their 16-year-olds in all kind of manners of scandalous ways, and it's part of how it goes. I know. But that's why I'm highlighting it as a problem. I mean, you could defend it. You can defend it, but Kashif says, I think it actually comes down to the parents because these kids work nowhere. 100% it comes down to the parents and what the parents are willing to approve. And the parents of a lot of Gen Z children are insane. They know nothing about boundaries and limitations on their children. They think like children are just adults in tiny bodies. Lots of them, lots of those older millennial parents and Gen Xers who became parents, some of them are doing some crazy things out there. Really crazy things. You're seeing 16-year-olds out 2 o'clock in the morning smoking. Like, so where are your parents? Hence, the decision should be from adults first and then the supplier discretion. Well, yes. I agree. But I'm just saying, if I were a designer, I feel I could drop some designs out there. Me and J. Chris probably have to work on some of those. The straight designers. That might be a thing. But if I'm a designer, I just think about it that way. Think about it. Think about if a camera is in the room of me as a designer, male, grown man, straight, designing one of those dresses and measuring it out, because you know if you're measuring that, you're measuring to cut exactly where it's cutting and imagine me doing that. The video of me trying to make that dress in and of itself in certain jurisdictions may be investigated. But we pretend otherwise. We'll pretend otherwise. And then we'll pretend as the generations flit away into all varying directions. We'll pretend like we have no idea how these things are happening. You know, it's all happenstance. Who knows how these things happen? Nobody knows. It's just, you know, who knows?
I glad this school can't in that graduation. The only thing is the child who obey the rules, they are the ones that, you know, thing, but I'm glad they cancel it. I find me strength of the girls' hands and the stupid adults. Oh my gosh, what is wrong with our adults? What is wrong with our adults, right? They cancel the grad. Oh, it's high time we admit that the Adventist religion is a cult. Excuse?
Who said that?
I saw one of the comments.
People start to get very personal here. People start to get very personal there. But and the chief sec is of that persuasion.
Well, supposed to be, yeah.
How you say supposed to be like that, Ron? No, you know what? Don't answer that. Don't even bother to answer that. Supposed to be. Alright, okay, right, okay. I get you. But Dream Chaser, I deal with kids a lot. Teaching and counseling, varying types. And I've done that for a little while now. A considerable time considering I'm not that old. And I kind of dislike that thinking. The world has changed, so did our kids. Because the longer I do this working along with children, I disagree and recognize the children are the same. We, as adults, attempt to raise them differently and do different things because we're thinking the children are different. But the same things that entertain children in 1992, if you get the children in 2022 to do it, it will entertain them too. The same things. We think and we're trying to reinvent child rearing because it's a new generation of children that have something different, you know. This is a different world. Well, if you give a child a tablet from the time they're 2 months old and you allow them to grow up like a cyborg halfway attached to the internet on a whim with an algorithm running their mind before they could control their own mind, well, obviously you're going to get some kind of strange adult. But that's not that the children have changed. You have changed how we raise children. That's not how children are raised. You have one child and grow them up in an air-conditioned apartment where they only see their parents and interact with nothing else outside that, only the school. These are some strange ways you are raising children. It's not natural. So obviously you're going to get unnatural results out of the children, but I don't think the children have changed. It's the same 46 chromosomes out there of the humans, you know, it's the same thing. No change out there. Same chromosomes, same hormones, same process of maturation, puberty goes on, they need the same food, same things. IDC Bro says definitely people don't consider how differently now parents raise kids, just that they're different. The family life is really important. Queenish says age appropriate clothing and parents that instill a certain level of consciousness will do better. Yeah, like I have a daughter. And I like the idea of age appropriate. I like the idea of a girl looking like a girl. Like there are dresses that are women's dresses. Like, let's be real. And I despise the dishonesty where people pretend like we don't know these things. There are women's dresses where the dress is made in a certain way to flatter a woman's body to increase a certain sexual appeal. A woman's body that has those parts. Why would you take a dress like that, make a mini form, and put it on a child? Why? Like, that's beyond me. That is beyond me. Totally.
Like, yesterday I saw a video on TikTok with a man make of his wife or girlfriend or whatever bought a two-piece bathsuit for their daughter, and the daughter, well, you could tell it's a small child because it's a small two-piece, so probably toddler age. And he was like, I'm not putting my daughter in this. And all the comments, and they like, oh, before you, what I say? One woman was like, why are you sexualizing your child? Or, oh gosh, don't tell your child not to wear things. Tell men not to sexualize your child. And I was like, you can control what you can control, right? I can't make somebody not want to sexually assault me. I can't make somebody not want to rape me. But I could make sure I'm not making myself an easy target, right? Why are you going to put your child? And it's not even like a two-piece with the frills and stuff, eh? It's legit a two-piece adults would wear, just very small. And it's like, why are we taking things that we can't control and making that the focus of things? That shouldn't be the focus. Change or control what you can. You can't think what people think in their mind. You have no control over that. And yes, it would be nice if we could tell boys to not interfere with girls, but wouldn't it be just better? Of course, you could still tell them. Of course, you should still tell them. But you should also tell girls, like, yo, you need to be very mindful of this and don't do that. And
if you're trying to stop something from happening, You want to cover all your bases. So yes, you talk to the aggressors, but you also talk to the potential victims. You talk to those who intermediate the interactions. You talk to everyone involved because you're trying to minimize this thing from happening. So that's a given. Dream chaser, and what's wrong with being the odd one out? And that's part of the lesson you're supposed to be teaching your children. That nothing is wrong with being the odd one out if being the odd one out means you're the smart one. In fact, that's a special place to be. In order to be the first place, you have to be the odd one out, The first place isn't in the crowd. You have to stand out in order to be first. So I think I'll be teaching that, it's okay to not be part of the crowd if the crowd is insane people. Someone asked about the LGBT stuff integrated in kids' programs. Here's the thing. Any kind of sex education in children's programs, in education, to me, should be about sex. And sex's function in the biological sphere is reproduction. Everything in that other sphere is kink. And here's the thing. Kink is a part of humanity. It is a part of the human nature. Humans could get real kinky. But I don't think my child needs an education in kink. I could take an education in reproduction. You tell them the physical realities of reproduction and the functions and all of that. Grand. But leave the kink out of it. There's no need for kink lessons. Nothing. Listen. If we go through all the letters, you'd recognize it's not about reproduction, it's about kink. And that's not for you to be teaching my child. Anybody trying to teach my child about kink, I'm starting to look at you with a very cross eye, and I'm struggling with violent thoughts. I'm letting you know, I'm struggling with violent thoughts if you want to teach my child about kink. Because what would be the reason for that? I can't see a positive reason. I guess a lot of people would argue it isn't kink and rather find that offensive, but definitely agree. I can't see how anyone would argue it isn't kink. Kink isn't a negative word in this context. Kink meaning it's just solely about the sexual gratification side about it, about how you feel, about what you're sexually allured to, which is okay. It's as well, might be okay. But as I said, it is a part of the human nature and the human condition. That's true. But that's not what I think education should be. So, I mean, I don't see how someone would argue with that. Depends on how they view their sexuality and that of others, but I don't think that should be... I don't think it is a dependence on that. I'm talking hard fact, logic-based here. Education should be reproduction and the facts of it. Those other activities are not involved in reproduction. Simple. Like that isn't complex to me. So why would we teach that? Because some people get pleasure out of it? Yes, some people do. That's why it's a kink. And do we go through teaching children everything that can possibly give humans pleasure? That's a long, creepy list. So here's what. Instead of trying to figure out where on that long, creepy list we draw the line off the list. Keep that whole list out of it. And we're just talking facts here. Boys, you all have one of these. Girls, you all have one of these. Their function in terms of biology is that. Listen, you don't have to teach children how to find pleasure in it. These things, people act like it's a hard science that, you have to educate these. Listen. If you throw, and I want to carefully age I say here, because people could think of it inappropriately. But even if you throw 2 children on an island and they can survive and they grow into adults, they will figure it out. No one has to tell them. They will figure it out. Trust me. Those things, you think humans aren't made with the innate desire to keep themselves propagating? trust. You don't worry about those things. No, you don't. You have to tell them how to keep it calm, not how to find it. Let's be real. Kids get carried away and excited when that comes up. So better teach just the facts. Yeah. And the opinion side of it and the my view, your view side of it could be left for home. And you see, in a culture like ours, these things become even more difficult because our culture is multicultural. You see, if we were in a monoculture, it would have been much easier because we all believe the same thing generally. So to teach it in the school system might have been fine. If we're all Catholics and we believe that contraception is wrong, to teach that as part of the school system wouldn't be something controversial because we all believe it. But if we are not, and a significant portion are not, to try and slip that in the school system, things start to get sketchy. Some people believe that there should be no kind of interaction until marriage and one person you marry forever. That's their belief. Others don't. Multiculturalism. So which one are you going to teach in the system? Because she says we like to compare our educational system to others a little too much. We were teaching bio all the time. In fact, they will try to cancel you if they hear you on the US TikTok. They could try. I'm uncancelable.
Uncancelable.
I works for no one, you know. I'm uncancelable.
Yeah, correct. And I think it's so, like, people talk about, because I be on TikTok. But, I hear them saying, oh, if you don't teach sex ed, how would young children know if they being molested and all of these things? And it's quite alright to tell children, this is your body and this is your private areas and nobody should be touching you in those private areas, and you leave it at that. And children will come forward if they are. But what are you teaching them that is so important in sex ed for them to now know, oh my God, I'm being molested?
Like,
you don't need to teach them anything.
How long does a class on Don't Touch Me need to be?
2 minutes.
And here's the thing, and this is why I don't trust these dirty people. You can go and read literature of the queer activists. We're talking about queer activists here, where they literally talk about getting glitter in the carpet. And that statement kind of raised my paws. And it's still creepy to me up till now. If anybody has been a preschool teacher, you interacted around children, you understand what glitter in the carpet means. It will never come out. And the idea that they're talking about with some of that is to influence and put some of these lessons and ideas in the minds of children so that it's there niggling the child and it will never come out. The aim is to influence the child. That is literally their aim. You can go search it if you're doubting me. There are queer activists who say this. That is literally their aim, to influence the child. Google that term, glitter in the carpet. Those creepy sick folk.
That's sad. That makes me very sad. But my children will never go into secondaries. They will never go into school, so they'll never be going to school more.
I don't think it's any school's business to be giving out contraceptives. I actually think that's a foolish idea because I don't think it works, because I was young. And generally speaking, if someone is of the responsible nature, they would get their contraceptives. If someone is of the irresponsible nature, you can give them a bag or a packet full of contraceptives. They would forget it in the car when they go to do whatever they go to do, and they will not use it.
Or they'll use it incorrectly.
The access to contraceptives really isn't the issue. That really is not. Like, you really think that's why? No. And what I realize about a lot of those things, it's as it were a permission slip. If you give a young man, a young boy, a packet full of 100 condoms, what are you kind of passively telling him?
You had to bust 100 times.
That seems to be what you're trying to say.
I say don't give them none. Let them get pregnant.
I say giving them or not giving them, I don't think is going to have much influence on the amount of children getting pregnant. That's what I say.
Let them get pregnant.
I don't think it's going to have an influence. I don't think it is. Like, this youth man, if this youth man doesn't know his body, everything is on, all valves are in red. He has zero control. Like, listen, even young people who get pregnant know how pregnancy happens. Pretty much everyone who gets pregnant knows how it happens. Generally. We're not talking the out there outliers, let's not even bring those up. But the vast, they know. But yet it still happens. How? Because they get carried away in the moment. So what, you think giving them a packet is somehow going to undo the carried away in the moment vibes? No, it's not. They're still going to get carried away in the moment. They're going to get somebody's girl child pregnant with a condom in their back pocket. Like, I don't think it's going to have a great effect one way or the other. Really and truly. I think it can, depending on how you do it, because a lot of parents don't educate their kids. Like, I am not of the view that children who engage in sexual activity. Yes, I saw that. I don't think that they're uneducated. I don't subscribe to the education is the solution view for all those moral quandaries. Like where Irani was talking about assault before. And like the reason there are men who assault women is because nobody taught them no means no. Like, teach your boys and your sons that no means no. And like that's going to be the solution for assault in the world. You think those sickos don't know what no means? No is the first word children learn. You think they really don't understand that when the lady told them no, she meant for you to stop because she didn't want it anymore? You think they didn't understand that? Like education and information was what was lacking? No, it's not that. The University of the West Indies was the hotbed of STDs in this country. You would hope those people are educated. But when you put young young youth in a building where they have little supervision and lots of freedom, you're going to see certain activities increase. So it's not about the education. Education isn't the issues. But yeah, Biden did, and he called the Ukrainian president Putin. Oh, geez.
I was like, when I saw that, I was like, these world leaders losing it. We have Trudeau clapping for Nazi soldier. We had Wayne Biden calling everybody the wrong name. What is going on with these people?
Uncle need to be. Yeah, he need to be sitting on a back balcony somewhere, with a blanket over his lap, and a hot drink in his hand, watching the sunset.
Later on, I feel they're setting him up. I think they really were. They want him out the race, but they don't want to take him out the race. They want him to step aside, right? Because it will look too messy if they move him. Right?
They can't move him. That's the problem is they cannot move him. The only way for him to move, really and truly, is for him to leave, to choose to move.
Well, that's what I'm saying. How are they going to? Because the man come out after the debate and say, I am going back up. I'm not stepping down. So how do you do that? You probably have to embarrass him into stepping down.
And here are some difficult things. And he has some difficult things in that. Nobody wants Kamala on that side. They don't want Kamala either. Kamala was an addition piece to make Biden more palatable. The Democrats never actually wanted her as a leader because she is not popular. If you force Biden out, you're going to end up with Kamala. And Biden is already fundraising and has already raised hundreds of millions. All of that money could only go to him or Kamala. There are some very difficult positions they are in. Will I fight a war over? No. There are very few wars you're going to get me to be fighting. I'm just letting you know. Who would you vote for if you had to? In which context? As in the US elections or in local elections?
I'm sure it's the US election.
We've had Uncle Keith asking Cousin Gary for FUL favors. Well, I saw those allegations, but it wasn't only Uncle Keith. Apparently, anybody who had Gary's phone number would ask him for those favors. But really and truly, I don't think anyone in Trinidad was surprised by it. That's why I said it was good for Dr. Rowley and those guys. It's good because their hypocrisy is being exposed, where they're making it seem like, oh no, guns, oh no, while they and all their friends and family are armed. I've been making this point all the time. Have I not, Ronnie? All of those people are armed. All those MPs and their family and their friends. If you know people in the know, they are armed. They have weapons. So for them to speak like weapons can't protect anyone, why would you want a gun? That's insane. Why would you ever want a weapon to protect yourself? While they're all armed, they're hypocrites. And that's why it's good for them that they get exposed for it. What?
Gary number?
Huh?
50,000. I said a lucky I don't have Gary number and 50,000.
If I was in the US elections, I'm not even doubting to say it. I'm not even ashamed to say it. I would have been a Trump supporter. You would have caught me with my MAGA hat. You know, a lot of people, foreign, don't understand though, that many American blacks, if they were not so caught up on the racial identity side, might actually be the most pro-American, anti the rest of world people that you'd ever meet.
They are.
Bro.
Nationalists ever. They hate everybody outside of America.
You know where you could see that culture and that history? Look at the history of Liberia. When the US said, okay, some US blacks want to go back to Africa, they sent them back and bought land in Liberia and they went there. And they treated the Africans worse than anybody else. Because they saw themselves as...
Nathan, they come right here into Big One to it. When they come on vacation, literally everywhere you go, if you go to any bar, restaurant, wherever, and you talk to them about the tourists, they hate the American tourists, the black American tourists. They say they are the worst tourists.
I always found it interesting growing up. The black Americans outside of the US are the people quickest to identify themselves as Americans, you know. They want you to know that they are American. Right? So I think beside the racial side of it, many people, if that side is separated, it would be very interesting politics. But even based as a Trini, I think Trump would be better for Trinidad. Let them be more concerned about their issues and focus internally and stop trying to influence every issue around the globe. That's actually a better deal for me, the way I see it. So yeah, that's the way I would have gone. And Trump being a racist is a narrative. That was something never thought or never said until he began running for elections in 2016. Trump was the best friend of all black people up until that point. Trump was one of the most called names in black culture. So really and truly, that I don't buy that.
If he's a racist, Hollywood would rather vote back Sleepy Joe, who don't know what day of the week it is. Joe always looking lost and confused. Every single video you see, the man mouth open, it had a little gap, and he like, where am I? You saw the video. I was watching the video with that man in the church when he went to the black church. And all I see, and when he stood down, he watching him, and this man probably wondering how he around so much black people. Like, why am I here? How did I get here?
Here's the thing, Here's the thing. It kind of cruel, as somebody said there, we're all going to get old. So it feels kind of cruel to, laugh at an old person and things that are natural for aging people. But here's the thing. They shouldn't put him there.
Step down, step aside.
Exactly. It's like, I remember with the Greta Thunberg thing, when Greta came across the world telling the world, how dare you, and trying to tell the world that they have to stop oil today and let 3/4 of the world drop down and die the next day. When she came talking all this preposterous nonsense, people were rightfully criticizing her, but then a lot of people jumped in, like, how could you criticize her? This is an underage girl, and she suffers from a syndrome. And I'm like, okay, well, if this girl has a syndrome and she's underage, then don't put her on the international stage to make political statements. Because if you do that, you are putting up yourself for criticism. So it's nearly wicked. You're putting up the guy there for criticism, and now people have to feel bad for criticizing the old man. Oh gosh.
I gotta feel bad, because when I get old, I go on. I know when I be fighting all day. I know when I'm ain't gonna see me running no race for nothing. I could be in my house rocking a child or grandchild or whatever.
Boy, I would be so upset if I was old and losing it. And I feel like, I'm a guy, like my smarts, like my little intellect, and I feel I have a little bit of logic and thing now. I feel like I'm okay. I would be so embarrassed if somehow my sentient brain watching my old senile self and my wife letting me come on Mindful Live 3085 dribbling and drooling and talking garbage. Like, nah, my wife wouldn't. She would lock up the camera and thing, Nates, honey, come hug up your child and sleep now. Let Lily run the live or something. It's just not my time. My wife wouldn't let me embarrass myself, so man.
And something, when you get in dementia and thing, you just return to how you was younger. And Joe was not a nice guy younger. All of a sudden we might be hearing about them jungles.
That's probably what's going on in the black church. Like, all these niggers doing. What are all those niggers? I see a lot of niggers. A lot of N's. But our POC not as old and as act just like Joe.
Our what?
Who POC? Who is POC?
Our POC.
I mean, the man is older than interracial marriage. Ouch. Like when you study that. Ouch. I think someone was pointing out that he was born, was it closer to the Civil War than to present day or something really weird like that? Whew. Well, who does act just like, I can't even think of any of our politicians who is even close to that Joe level.
I think like the commissioner of police.
Nah, don't do tanty that man. Don't do the tants that man. Like I find I don't like Tant's approach. I find it's lacking. But I wouldn't say Tant's is senile.
Well, she's just come up and talk about praise. So probably she might be.
No. I think she's just a church mother.
Okay.
You know the church mothers?
You see,
oh gosh, don't do my commission of that. Don't do my commission of that. Oh gosh. Peace poll and complaint box. Listen, the commissioner didn't come up with the peace poll, eh? They cannot do Tanti Erla that. Tanti Erla did not do the peace poll. That was the Rotary Club or Lions Club or whoever.
I think it was Rotary.
Right. Don't do Tanti Erla's that. She did the complaint boxes.
Wow.
Both always lost. Oh jeez. No. My Tanti Earl's not lost. She may be Not doing it in the most efficient manner, but I wouldn't say the lady brain is still there. She understands what's going on, and I wouldn't have her there. I would not have her. And I think I heard from somebody, my same prediction with those complaint boxes is true, you know, it's just cost, level cost. Like, what you expect to get from trainees? And anonymous complaint boxes and police?
Yeah, boy.
That is cost practice. They go and practice all the variations of cost they could get.
I wouldn't say 60. Like, I have really good 60-years collect. Well, I mean, even, look, Keith Rowley is well over 70, and he brain, you know, seems to be in, I mean, sometimes it's a little shaky, but he seems to be well intact. 2 years or so younger than Biden, and he's not in no kind of shape like Biden.
No. It's not about age. It's not about age. It's about ability. And I understand the feeling like all of these old people need to take a rest up and give somebody else a chance. But here's the thing: there's a way to do it, and that's the electoral system. But what we realize with the electoral system is the vast majority of people generally feel safer with the older people. That's just the reality of it.
Because they've been through things, they could tell you things. I'd rather go with somebody who have experienced it than to walk down the road with you and I walking down the road together for the first time. What are we falling in all the places?
It's the reality. It's just the reality. So yeah, you could think that the older people, oh gosh, give some younger people a chance now. But then when you actually ask the majority of the population, who do you think would best lead? They generally choose the older folk, and maybe with good reason too. So I wouldn't necessarily say the 60 plus need to go, but I think they need a better mix and handing over. Now, I find there's something interesting though, because yes, I do agree with the age. People tend to think there's more experience, but it wasn't always that old, because in the 80s many of the leaders that we chose were like in their 40s.
Well, remember too, everything has aged. The age we are getting married has gone up. The age we have children has gone up. The age we graduate and leave school gone up. The first job gone up. So everything has now to age upward. So of course we would have leaders more mature. So that's just given. Everything has just risen in age. Nothing wrong with that.
But you could wonder why so many places in the world there's a same batch of politicians there since the 80s basically. And to me that's more of a problem than just their age. It's the same group of people. Literally.
Because power is addictive.
Maybe so. But that to me is much more of a problem. The same group of people are there. Like, you all could probably do it a change. There's something wrong with that, and it definitely needs to be talked about because it's out of control.
Well, I mean, let me look at our local politics, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I look at the two parties, there is literally no succession in those parties. Why am I speaking like that? In those parties, on either side, there is nobody for either of those leaders to hand over to. And even if there is somebody that we could kind of see, is somebody who are around their age anyway.
Correct.
Because, okay, let me see, the same PNM, the one that was looking at Penelope, right? Like, that was talk and that was talk. That was just talk. But Penelope is what? Penelope in she 50s, no?
No, I think she's in her 60s.
Oh, well, she look real good. Penelope old. And, well, obviously, well, we have no kind of, it's literally nobody to look at on the UNC side. Literally.
Saddam, Khadijah, Anita.
Not Khadijah ain't going there. Anita fall out of the party. She and Kamson separate side now. Well, I mean not separate.
Well, then you see the problem with succession. Those with the power kind of don't want to hand it up. And therein is a lot of the issue, I think. Therein is a lot of the issue. The power is addictive, and those that got a hold of it, like in the 80s, got addicted to it and they never wanted to hand it up. Even Mr. Pandy, that many people laud, he didn't want to hand it up. It had to be pried out of his hands. And at least give that to Mr. Manning. When he saw that it seemed like they didn't want him anymore, he was willing enough and able enough to give it up. At least he didn't die while still holding on.
Or trying to. Well, yeah, he gave it up.
And that's the issue. It's that addiction. No one else could get in there. You should go into politics, Nathan. Well, this is politics, you know. Politics is the issues of the people. So this is politics I'm doing right here. So I am into politics. If you mean I should get into party politics, then do you hate me? Perchance, are you trying to get me killed or badly damaged or, you know, something of the such?
I was talking to, TPP. Did they register that party? Well, they have to because they had party internal election.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that means they registered.
You're asking the wrong person.
Okay. I was talking to the new secretary person. I don't know what to call it. New elected person. And you could wonder really and truly how young people is thinking, you know. Because it's a young person and the conversation was just so essenceless. Is that a word? There was literally no substance to it. It was like, babe, go and come again. Like this man, he just wanted to talk about things that didn't make sense. Like, yeah, we get to your point, whatever. And he would literally stop and wait for the conversation to die down just to say something stupid. And it's like, because I hear it before, because he was trying to say it before, but everybody else was talking now. And he had to wait until everybody died then to come and make this stupid comment. And it's like, babe. And like again, he was talking about like all the younger voters coming up, the 18-year-olds or whatever. And I was like, wow, your party is going to target the young ones. Interesting. That says a lot.
You know, let's finish your point. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we were talking about that because one of the guys was suggesting that they go for the people who live in Tobago. They have been living in Tobago for a while, but they have not changed their residency to vote in Tobago. And he was like, yeah, but we have a lot of people turning 18 who are going to be voting for the first time. And I was like, bro, what? I was like, you all don't want to convince anybody. You all have no actual nothing. Do you all have a manifesto? What is up? Like, talk to me. I love politics, right? So talk to me about your plan. Where's your plan? And then he had to go. But there was no plan to discuss, except for targeting 18-year-olds who are going to vote for the first time. And I was just like, wow, I am wary of you. I don't think y'all will last long. I think well, the good thing is because how you telling me this lady, the Visine lady,
yeah.
You know the
Yeah.
was running for a position in that party. Mm-hmm. And this me. Is this a new party or is this the same recycled politicians which happens a lot in Tobago?
Well, yes.
Every time a party come up, is the same old people around, the same old anybody but PNN people coming back. And it's like, oh gosh, don't leave the people party. But she didn't win she's position, she lost. But still, what she even ran for? Like, why you even allow her to run? She doesn't speak that way in your party.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, I am very wary. I've said this before. I'm very wary of parties who try to aim at the youth. And I know it could sound counterintuitive, but the youth are ignorant. This isn't an insult to the youth. It's just a reality. You haven't been here for the amount of years and acquired as much information. Like, ask yourself, when would you have acquired more information? When you were 20 or when you are 35? Obviously. So a party that is particularly targeting the youth, I am suspicious of. And here's another reason. This is the way government functions. Government is a collectivist entity. It's a collectivist drive. The intention is we all pool together our resources to make decisions and do things that benefit all of us best. But it's all of our resources pooled together. Whose resources would it be mostly? Well, older, mature people. The chances are for young people, for a given person, even if you are a high earner at a young age, the chances are you may not break into net positive giving into the system, as in you're paying more into the system than you have taken out. You might not cross that threshold till you're over 30 at least, even if you're a high earner. So you are basically going for the ignorant people who are the beneficiaries of the system. You are trying to get the ignorant beneficiaries to be your main block. That does not sound like you have good governance intended.
But there's a as you're saying that, like, I think when you're 18, your vote should be like half a vote. Like, your vote don't fully count because you haven't done anything yet. You haven't paid a bill, you haven't paid taxes, you haven't done anything. Why should you have the same vote as somebody who pays taxes through the ears, then literally